Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing the 2023 college football playoff ranking. We have number 1 Michigan, we have number 2 Washington, we have number 3 Texas, and number 4 Alabama. Well, there is some controversy. Should Florida State have been in? Should Georgia have been in? Should Alabama have not been in? Put Florida State in? There's a whole lot we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss should Washington have been number 1 and not Michigan. There's been talk about that. And then once we kind of get through all that, we're going to then kind of break down and talk about some of the other New Year's 6 bowl games. We got 4 in total, aside from the 2 playoff games. And by the end of today's video, I'm going to kind of give my prediction on who I think is going to win all 6 New Year's 6 bowl games. And then obviously with the playoff games, I'll give my national championship winner prediction. So without further ado, like I said, we got a lot to break down. So before we go any further, if you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure you drop a like. And without further ado, let's get into it. So like I said, we have Michigan number 1, Washington number 2, Texas number 3, Alabama number 4. That means Michigan is going to be playing Alabama in the Rose Bowl, and we got Texas and Washington playing each other in the Sugar Bowl. Before I go any further, that is 2 great matchups. I think this is going to be probably the best playoffs we've seen. On paper, this has the making of these 2 games being 1-score games, going down to the final seconds being incredible games. Now, the big topic that everybody's been talking about is, should Alabama have been over Florida State? Well, let's kind of look at what happened over the whole entire weekend. Obviously, we know Washington beat Oregon. Oregon went out, Washington goes up. We know Michigan won the Big Ten title game. They go in automatically. But then the 3 games that were going to kind of dictate the way of how the playoff scenery was going to look were Texas. If they lost to Oklahoma State, they would have been out, and we had a good chance of possibly having Alabama go in and maybe Georgia go in over Florida State. Or possibly we could have had Florida State go in and Alabama go in, and Georgia could have been at number 5 spot. But with Texas winning the Big 12 title game and the convincing fashion that they did it, they had no choice but to put them in. And also, I think the thing that kind of hurt the committee with how they had to predict or go forward with making their rankings was Texas beat Alabama earlier on in the year. So they couldn't just leave Texas out if Alabama wins the SEC championship game. And I kind of want to break this down. I'll put it up on screen so you guys can see it as well. There are metrics that teams use, or the committee uses, to rank a team. There's strength of schedule, strength of record, game control. There's obviously conference championships, head-to-head. And as you can see right here, we have Michigan. Let's look at the strength of schedule. Michigan, 33rd. Washington, 11. Texas, 13. Alabama, 5. Florida State, 55. Criteria that I've seen a lot of people on ESPN talking about was strength of record. Michigan, number 2. Washington, number 1. Texas and Alabama at 5 and 4. And Florida State, number 3. People have been talking about should Florida State be in the playoffs, because look right there. Strength of record, that's a big criteria apparently the committee uses to rank teams. They're number 3. They should be in the playoffs. Okay, if that's the case, so if Florida State is going to be in the playoffs at number 3 spot and Alabama is at number 4, you're going to tell me you're going to leave Texas out when they beat Alabama earlier in the year? And I find it hard to believe that people are talking about, well, that was earlier on in the year, who cares? But then in the same sense, they're like, Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC title game. You got to put Alabama in over Georgia. If you put Georgia in, Alabama's got to be in there too. It just seems like they're trying to do everything they can to get both SEC teams in. And in this scenario, they had no choice with the fact of Texas winning. Obviously, Michigan and Washington, there's no debate for them to not be the top 2 teams in the country, with them being undefeated, winning their conferences, and the fashion they do it at. The committee basically looked at the final weekend going into Sunday, and they had to say, there is one spot. Do we give it to Georgia, Alabama, or Florida State? Well, let's see. Alabama beat Georgia, so Georgia's kind of have to drop. You got Alabama, Florida State. The big thing that I've seen a lot of people talking about is, do we want another TCU? And I've seen people say, well, what the fuck does that mean? Who cares? Give them the shot. They deserve their opportunity. I agree they deserve the opportunity. And don't get me wrong, I feel bad. The players, the coaches, that hurts. That hurts. The fact that you went 13-0, won your conference, you're undefeated, you did everything you were supposed to do, and you're still not in the playoffs, it hurts. But a couple of things that kind of play into the reason why they were left out. Number 1, like I said, we don't want another TCU like we had last year. Last year, TCU was undefeated. They were winning a lot of games close. We were questioning, are they really deserving to be in there? And then we got to the end of the year, we decided, fuck it, let's let them in. Even though they lost the Big 12 title game, let's let them in. Did they go out and beat Michigan? Yes, that was a great game. At some point in there, I was thinking, Holy shit, TCU's a pretty damn good team, actually. But then they got a wake-up call when they played Georgia and they got their asses kicked 65-7. The other reason why I think Florida State was left out is because the committee, they did talk about it. People don't like this take, but I think you have to take it with a grain of salt of how you listen to it. Jordan Travis, Heisman contender quarterback. He went down. He broke his leg, I think, week 11, the second last week of the season. He broke his leg. Yes, did they win that game whenever he broke his leg? Yes, because you were playing, I think, a D2 or FCS school. You were going to win that game. They won that game like 40-something to nothing or whatever. But then the next week, you have your backup quarterback out there. You beat Florida, a bad Florida team that was not good this year. Yes, I understand they're an SEC school. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. But it was still a bad Florida team this year. You beat them, I think, 32-11, something like that. It wasn't a very impressive win. Then you followed up with the ACC championship game. The thing that I even said about Florida State going into this week, or going into that week, they need to go out there and put a performance like Ohio State did back in 2014. And everybody across every sports network has been saying it. When Ohio State in 2014 lost Braxton Miller early in the year, we had JT Barrett come in. When JT Barrett went down later on the season, everybody was questioning, saying, is this team going to be the same team? They got their opportunity with Cardale Jones against Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game, and he went out there and put up 59 points. 59-0. Now let's look at what Florida State did and their opportunity. They got an opportunity to show with this backup quarterback that he can give the same level of action, fire to this offense that Jordan Travis gave. What did he do? He put up 16 points. I'm sorry, but the committee, they had to look at that and they said, you put up 16 points against a team that we had ranked number 18 in the country. Whereas Alabama controlled a SEC title game against a Georgia team that we had ranked number 1. And it wasn't like they just squeaked out a win, like kind of like a 13-10 victory. No, 27-24. And Jalen Milroe, that dude looks like he could be a Heisman contender if he would have played a lot better in the early 3 or 4 weeks of the season. If he played really good in those early 3 or 4 weeks, the rest of the season, the way he's been playing, I'd say give him the Heisman. So to kind of wrap up the whole narrative of was Florida State robbed? Were they robbed? Yes. Here's the thing. The best way I can say it is, did they get the most deserving teams in the playoffs? No. That would have been Florida State. Did they get the best 4 teams? Yes. Is it right? No. But think of it this way as a viewer's perspective. Say, like for anybody that's not a fan of any of these 4 teams like me, did you really want to watch Florida State go play Michigan? No. And you heard the groans when Michigan was watching the selection show when they were saying, and who will be playing Michigan at number 4 spot? Will it be Alabama or Florida State? And they showed Alabama. Those Michigan players were not happy because in their minds, they were thinking, oh my God, we could play Florida State free bye week 1. Let's kind of go through and briefly react to some of the New Year's Six Bowl games. And I'll put these on screen as we go forward so you guys can kind of see the matchups. First up, we got Missouri and Ohio State. This game is a little bit interesting because Missouri, they're ranked number 9 in the Cotton. This is the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. It's a really good bowl game, I feel like, whenever it comes to the perspective of if you want to win it or not. The problem with right now going forward, Missouri, like I said, they're going to have a lot of their players. They're going to be ready. They want to win this game. With Ohio State, if you have not heard the news yet, I'll be making a video going forward on this. They have had their starting quarterback, Kyle McCord. He's transferred out of the university, going somewhere else. I'll talk about that a little bit later on in another video. Julian Fleming, wide receiver, he's transferring out. He'll be going somewhere else. Mayan Williams, the running back, he's entering the NFL draft. Dallas Hayden, I believe, is also another running back. He's leaving. We got a couple of corners, linebackers leaving. There's a lot of players from Ohio State that's leaving. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., the Emeka Bukas, the Tommy Eichenberg, the Michael Halls, JTT, a lot of these like guys that like they're going to the NFL in the first or second round just decide to opt out. So going forward this game, I know I'm an Ohio State fan. I should be rooting for my team, but I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say Missouri's going to win this game. It'll be close, but I'm going to say 24-17. I'd say Ohio State keeps it close, but I think Missouri's going to win it like 24-17. Could I be wrong when Ohio State goes out there and kick the shit out of Missouri? Yes. Could I be wrong and Missouri just kicks the shit out of Ohio State? Yes. But like I said, it's a prediction. No one's right all the time. Next up, we got Ole Miss and Penn State. We got the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. This is actually a really good game because we got Ole Miss, high-flying offense, but we got Penn State, a defense that can control a pass game, a run game, whatever you got to throw at them. This Penn State defense is real. I think Ole Miss is going to come out there high-flying when it comes to their pass game. They're going to try to get the ball in the air. I think Penn State, they're running defense more. Their quarterback, I don't know if he's really ready to go, if he's going to be able to handle with Ole Miss and an SEC defense. This one I can see being a very low-scoring game. I can see this one being like a 17-10 type victory for Ole Miss. I'm going to predict Ole Miss is going to win this game like 17-10. Next up, we got Georgia and Florida State, the 2 teams that were supposed to be in the playoffs. And this game looks like it's going to be awkward Because you saw, if for any of you that did not see, Kirby Smart and Mike Norvell, the head coaches of the two teams, they both, obviously, whenever it comes to these bowl games, you got to do like the press conferences, the kind of the coaches, they all get together and they got to do like their interviews with the reporters for how they feel about going to this bowl game, what they think about this bowl game. And you could just tell they did not want to be there. But I mean, the Orange Bowl, it's still an important bowl game. It's a fun time. I think this game is going to be one of those games where we're going to find out, was Florida State snubbed or not? If Georgia goes out there and just houses Florida State, and I'm talking about housing them like a 45-7 type victory, Florida State has nothing to say other than, yeah, we didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. Because I think Florida State, I think this is the best thing for them. The fact that if they would have been in the playoffs, think of it this way. How would you feel going to the playoffs and you getting your ass kicked like 45-7? Take it from me. I know how it feels. I'm an Ohio State fan. I've had my ass kicked in the playoffs. What, 31-0 to Clemson, and then 55-24 against Alabama in the national championship. It don't feel good. If I had to make a prediction, I'm gonna say it's gonna be like I'm gonna say 38-17 victory for Georgia, because I just don't think Florida State can hang with them. And if you look at the spread, 14 points, it's not gonna be close. And obviously we have the last two games. We got Alabama and Michigan. I'm gonna say it straightforward. I think Alabama is gonna win this game, just because of the fact that Michigan, they have seen a lot of different types of quarterbacks this year, but they have not seen anything like Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is a different type of beast. I've talked about Jalen Milroe all year long, saying it's so easy to beat Alabama's offense because all you have to do is just contain Milroe. And just keep your safeties back, because he doesn't want to throw anything short for some reason. He always wants to throw it deep, and he always wants to run. Now, if Michigan can control that, they have a shot. But I think Alabama can win this game in the same fashion they beat Georgia. I think Georgia wanted to run the ball in that game. Georgia got slowed down. I think Michigan, they like to run the ball. Can Alabama slow the run game down? If Alabama slows Michigan's run game down, we know J.J. McCarthy can play well. He's I think going to be drafted in the first round of the NFL draft this season, if he opts to go to the draft. But I think Alabama can slow Michigan down, keep them under 30 points. I think Alabama is capable of putting up at least 30 points. And I think they can get out of there with a 34-23 victory over Michigan. And the second game of the playoffs, we have Texas and Washington. This game, I feel like, is going to be a fucking fireworks show. I'm going to say, very honestly, I think this is going to be the game that's going to go like, it's going to be like the Georgia-Ohio State game was last year. Like, we are going to see no defense. Like, think about it. We have a Pac-12 and a Big 12 team playing. There ain't going to be no defense in this game. There is a high chance we're going to get a 52-42 type victory out of this game. Now, if I had to make my prediction of who I think is going to win, this is a tough one. Like, I am being so honest. This is tough to predict. But if I had to make a prediction right now, I think I'm going to go Texas. I think Texas can get this victory. Just something about it. I feel like Quinn Ewers, he's going to make that play or two at the end of the game, and it's going to come down to where if Michael Penix can be, he's shown Heisman moments all year. I don't know if Michael Penix is going to win the Heisman, but we've seen moments out of him, and I feel like he's going to screw up one time or two in this game, and I think Texas can get the victory. And then obviously we have the national championship game. There is a part of me that says Alabama, they are on like a full-on revenge tour this whole year. They've gotten their revenge against LSU. They got their revenge against Tennessee, smoked up them cigars, and now they're coming back for Texas from this season. Alabama is on a revenge tour, and I think Alabama's going to win the Natty. I think they'll be able to win it like a 31-26, 27 odd type score. I think Alabama, they just have something about their team where they went from Jalen Milroe being benched in week 3, and now somehow he has just like grown up so fast, and he's going to carry Alabama to a Natty. But as always with all these predictions, like I've always said, they are my prediction. If you don't agree with them, that is your choice, and sometimes I could be wrong. It happens. But other than that, that's all I got to discuss for today's video. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy today's video. As always with all these videos that I post here, if you're going to enjoy, make sure you go and drop a like. It's very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entire today's video, thank you very much, and you want to go ahead and leave your opinion on kind of the whole playoffs, of if you think Florida State was supposed to be in the playoffs or not, if you think Georgia was snubbed, should have been in the playoffs or not, what you think about all the bowl games. Do you think all the near 6 bowls are going to be exciting or not? Leave your opinion down in the comment section down below for what your opinion is on the whole thing of how you think it's all going to play out. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so, and do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.